My name is Zachary. I'm a husband, a new father, and a licensed clinical social worker. This is another installment of Therapy Moments, Love Island edition. So first, the show started off very slow. So I'm going to speed up from the first episode and get to the action when we get into episode 13. Some things to take into consideration is one, that these people are around each other 24/7 in a small space. That's not easy. So I think that intensifies your experience and your emotions. Second, not only are you around each other 24/7, but also the person that you are attracted to, they're barely wearing any clothes. So, right, for example, I was telling my wife, if I was getting to know her and I was around her 24/7 and we barely, like that's going to intensify your feelings and emotions. And then on top of that, they are barely wearing any clothes. So that just makes it even more intense. And third is that they're human beings. So yes, they come in there for love, but just because things are intensified doesn't mean that it's always good. So we got to get to Hutta, Woulda, Coulda, and Jeremy. I think Ace and Nick was definitely, they were definitely on cue. I think Ace kind of made it known when in his face, you can see some of his facial expressions where he just knew it was not a good idea. Did he deliver it correctly? No, he did not. But I think he was trying to say, like, this is, like, in his words was like, this is fake, or this is all game, and whatever else he was saying to Jeremy. What Ace was trying to tell him, that y'all going too fast, and if you go too fast, it's not gonna end up good. And so Hutta, what she's reflecting is someone who wants something really, really bad. You gotta think about this. This is a young mother, 24 years old, young mother, and she wants to find a person for her. But in the midst of doing that, sometimes you can overlook certain obstacles, or you can move a little bit too fast, and your emotions and things are not the greatest. You're coming in to explore stuff. Like, that's the concept of this show. And I think Jeremiah. I think Jeremiah was trying to let her know in certain cues when they would have certain conversations. Jeremiah would be like, yeah, you are the one for me right now. I don't know if anybody's coming in. She'd be like, oh, so are we closing off? I mean, right now we are, but I don't know if somebody's coming in. He was being very realistic with his emotions. Like, hey, yeah, we are together now, but it's a part of the show. New people are going to come. Bombshells are going to come in, and something could happen. But for her, it was like, hey, I want to be with you and just with you. In reality, it was a fairy tale. The communication was extremely poor. One person was not communicating effectively to the other person. Another thing about this show that you can see is that people are not communicating how they really feel. Someone's feelings get hurt, or someone starts to feel insecure. Instead of them saying, you know what, I feel insecure. Like we can use Hutta and Jeremiah, for example. Like when she began to notice, like he was saying, yeah, we're good now, but I don't know about later on. Like, what it was, her insecurities was coming up because she knew that people would come in and that people can possibly catch his eye and he could possibly be open to it. Instead of her expressing like, hey, I feel a little bit insecure because I'm starting to fall for you and I know it's not normal. What she did was she began to become a little bit more attached. She began to put a lot on him. And Jeremiah as you notice, he began to close up. I do not think he handled the whole kid thing the greatest. I mean, but at the same time, what do you do? I think she made it really intense, the way she brought it up. But also was taken into consideration is that we are watching a show that's cutting up a lot of time and making it like this little short little clip. So they can make something look like she was taking forever to say it, but in reality, it probably was maybe like 5 minutes. So that's the dramatic effect. This is a TV show, but however, we have to also recognize is that people do not have good communication skills in this. This is what happens when you intensify stuff. When you walk around butt naked and you're attracted to people and you like the person. Communication ain't that great. So episode 13. Episode 13, when Ace and Nick at the end, they confront each other when America makes a decision to break up Huda and Jeremiah. I mean, they were trying to tell him Jeremiah was not being honest. And Huda did not communicate well. What she did, she lashed out. She was calling him every word up under the sun. Why would you think that this dude gonna make him, he gonna feel like you love him, that you care about him, that you want him, instead of just saying you hurt, instead of recognizing like something going on? This is what happens when you want it too bad. She wanted it too bad, and it very much negatively impacted how she viewed the relationship. And so it got to the point that it became so toxic for them that they began to impact the whole villa. You see it throughout the whole like from episode 13 to 14 to 15 to 16. They're like, the villa is at its ending point, to the point that when they are recoupled and Jeremiah is with the new girl, Huda tries to come back and talk to Jeremiah, and Taylor, he like, hey man, like, come on, like, you said you weren't gonna talk to him no more, man. Why you, and she still was trying to have some conversation. Episode 14 is still getting intense. I think Taylor, he was trying to protect his emotions, but without saying it, he was trying to move slow. I think there's also this very unique dynamic that's happening where a lot of the guys are not wanting to be physical, and a lot of the girls are wanting the guys to be. They see that as wanting to be physical, and it's like, I would assume that people would want guys to take it that slow, and so you can see Taylor trying to take it slow and really get to know the young lady, and then you see Nick and Ace kind of try to give good advice. One thing to note that's about Ace is that you could tell he watched the show last season, and he watched before. He knew he was going to be, for one, he knew he was going to be on an island. This is how you know culture matters. He knew he was going to be on an island. He knew he probably want to have a barber. This man has so after a couple days on that island and that hair started growing back, guess what he do? He's wearing a do-rag all the time to make sure that hair laying down. Not only is he wearing a do-rag all the time, he's wearing hats. But he knew that he couldn't probably wear particular hats. So guess what your boy Ace did? Ace bought a bunch of plain hats so he can wear with his different outfits. Most people that's not brown or black probably would not even notice that or think about it. But if you're a black dude, like after a couple days, you ain't got a haircut, you ain't get your line up, your hair start growing back and it start looking a little rough. So he came prepared. I thought that was very, also for episode 14, they end up giving her the name Hurricane Huda. And it gets real bad when they do that, when they do the recoupling thing with the door, and she's just crying even more. Meg Thee Stallion comes on there. She gives the girl some pointers. She's talking to him. I think a very funny moment from episode 15 is when, this is how I say Austin he's just a quirky dude. He's doing his dance. I was like, front of him, like, see, you're a quirky guy. You're just a quirky dude. Like you're a good guy. You just quirky. Even going back, like some of the old episodes where he's doing meditation, he's doing like the slingshot thing. And then one of the dudes is like, what the? He's like, yeah, scoop it in, bring it out. Scoop it in, and bring it. He's like, what? Also, we got to talk about Hannah. Hannah did all that crying. Boo-hoo. Took the pictures out of the photo booth, laid next to him on in the bed, did all that crying, and then I don't know if it was because I watched all of them in the state, so y'all gotta give me some grace here, but then sleeping with the pro basketball player, and y'all like, but you just boo-hoo crying, it's. And so that's what this show that's also what this show does. It makes you wonder how people view relationships, and if it's just emotions, if it's just like is it very emotion driven, and are all these emotions very true? Because how can someone have that much intensely crying, but then within the next breath you basically making out, and yeah. So this is kind of my review. This is part one of my review. It's very interesting. The show I watched last season, and to see now, this is very unique. I think 13 to 16, that's when it started getting hot, as in heavy, and so it's very interesting to see like what will happen, because like even as we get to in episode 16, you begin to wonder, like, do people even think about like the fluid that they're passing to each other? Is that something that we even think about? Like, I'm confused. Like, y'all kiss like mad people in one day, and then that exercise when they were like the whole milk and thing. I had to speed past that. That was disgusting. That was just nasty. Let's be honest. That was nasty, And so, but then you see this dynamic like with Sierra and Nick. They are very intimate, and then that night, but then when the two bombshells come, they are exploring those relationships, and so I wonder.